Hello, so I'm Jess and this is my dog, Midge. And we were having a few issues with what I initially thought was behaviour. So she was getting progressively more growly of an evening, especially when somebody walked past her when she was resting. And she always used to like being touched by people, but she got to a point where, other than me, with other people, when people tried to stroke her, she was snapping at them. She would go looking for attention with the person, so she'd go over and she'd clearly want to say hello, but then she was becoming really adverse to anybody stroking her. I saw Alistair's van driving through the village and thought I'd look him up, and had a look on the internet and found out a little bit about him and then gave him a call. So we booked in a session, a group of 4 sessions, and Alistair came to the house and he was great with the dog, and he then brought up the idea that perhaps Midge was in some kind of pain, which is why she was reacting how she was. So we decided to do a gait assessment, which uncovered a number of abnormalities in her gait, the way she sat, the way she moved, the way she weed and pooed. I mean, she's a very active dog, so she still runs and jumps and didn't really show any signs of lameness, but it became apparent after Alistair looked at her that the way she moved she wasn't very comfortable. So I used the assessment and took it to the vets, and the vets agreed to x-ray her, and the diagnosis from the x-ray was that she had bilateral hip displacement, which explains her reluctance to be moved when she was sleeping, her worry about being touched by other people. So since then she's started a course of Metacam, which is the first port of call. And after, I think she's been on it consistently for about 3 weeks now, and you can see she's much more relaxed in herself. She is less growly. She's not perfect as yet, but I think it might take a while for that to return. And I will look into other options, but I had my sessions with Alistair before Christmas, and we're now in February and he still keeps in regular contact. He was great when it came to claiming on the pet insurance. He sent them everything they needed, which meant we were able to claim the cost of the x-ray, and we can claim treatment for her hip dysplasia in the future. And he still just checks in just to see how things are going, which is lovely. So he's been brilliant. I would have struggled, I think, to get the vets to agree to x-ray her. I certainly wouldn't have been able to claim on the insurance if it had just been on a whim of mine. And I wouldn't have really known that. I had suspicions that it could have been pain related, but I didn't know where it was or what was going on with her. So hopefully, following on from Alistair's assessment, we will be able to get to the bottom of it. But I think the best thing I felt is I feel a bit supported. Like if I do, originally after the vet's diagnosis, had a bit of a panic because the vets didn't really tell me a lot. I just got in touch with Alistair, and he's very reassuring and kind of suggests different methods of approach to the treatment. Midge loved him, which is, I mean, she likes certain people, but she was, on his last visit here, she threw herself all over him for the entire session. So she clearly learned to trust him in the 3 hours that he was here. And it's just nice to feel that you've got some support and somewhere to turn, and somebody that doesn't just take your money and then disappear because you're not paying them anymore. Alistair keeps in touch and clearly shows a real concern for the dogs. So I would highly recommend him.